So I've tried making this multiple times, but the problem is that every time I've made it, it came out like rambling of a crazy man who lives in a dumpster. So I'm going to try to keep it as short and concise as possible, as to not go on a huge rambling, a big rambling tangent and just get lost in it. So the first thing is the battle pass. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your effort, which is basically this entire event. It's what the whole purpose is. Everything in this battle pass of skin related is locked behind the battle pass paywall. Everything. Everything in here that is skins is locked behind the battle pass except for the very last one, which I guess is their incentive to get people who don't want to buy it to play it, as well as the bonus, but I don't even want to talk about the bonus right now. But this is the whole incentive for people who don't want to buy it to play it. And anyone who doesn't buy it gets nothing out of this entire battle pass. It's a waste of your time. You get nothing from this. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it and you still get the guns later. It is a monumental waste of your time to do. Unless you pay for it. In which case, if you pay for it, there's not enough blood bonds in the battle pass to give you back what you paid for. Most games do this, like COD, where if you buy it, you can get as much COD points back as that what you spent on it. Not Hunt. They give you half. There's 500 blood bonds in this when this is worth 1,000. It is not worth your time. I don't know why they just don't put the guns at the front. If they want to put these in the battle pass, fine, but put them in the very front. I'm talking about the first 2 levels, not all the way down here at 11 and 15. It's ridiculous the amount of work they want you to do just to play with the new weapons, which is the whole reason most people come back to the game anyway. It also doesn't help that every other level is a story that they've written, part of the story. Now, I don't know if this is a good story or not. I haven't read any of them, but it's hard to want to read them when it's just paragraphs of written text. None of this has any implications on the gameplay. It doesn't help anything in the game. There's no like overarching story, kind of like how Fortnite does, how they have in-game events where they change everything. No, it's just a written paragraph of story. This could be good, and you may like it. That's fine, but don't have it as its own level in the battle pass. This doesn't need to be here. They could double this up with something else and make the battle pass half as long. It does not need to be 50 levels. And for each level of the battle pass, it's 1,000 event points. Now you could do the weekly battle pass, which unless you buy the battle pass, can only give you 6,000 per week. You can get this done if you get a good roll on these challenges in like a day or two. And then you could be done and you could get up to 6 levels. If you want to get more levels in game, you have to spend the entire match, the entire 45 minutes, assuming, to get every single event point possible. And that's assuming you got every single player, you looted every player, assuming that you're the only solo in there, or maybe you spawn with a team, which is 9 people. You have to get every event clue. You have to get every altar. You have to banish the boss, and you have to extract with the token. All of that only gives you 568 event points for the 45 minutes that's going to take you, assuming you can get every single event point, which realistically, you're not going to get every event point. But if you did, it only give you 568 event points. And to get the same level of event points to level 6 as you just did, which took you maybe a day or two in the weekly battle pass, to get the same amount of event points, it'll take you 10 to 11 games, around 9 to 8 hours. 8 to 9 hours of gameplay, of perfect event point, gathering every single event point in that match. That's not going to happen. I can tell you right now, that's not going to happen. No matter how much you try, it's not going to happen. You cannot get that many event points in a single match. Now, they do have boosters for the weekends. I still don't care. It still doesn't take away from the fact it's going to take dozens of hours to get the same amount of effort that the weekly battle pass is giving you. Now, I'm aware you could ignore the battle pass entirely and just play the game, but that's not why a lot of people come back to the game. They come back for these new weapons that they add in. You come back for these new weapons they add in, and it's all the way down here in the battle pass. I mean, it's not at the very end, but some of these variants are, and there's so far up. So the weekly battle pass can get you up to 6. You have to spend 8 to 9 hours of grinding the game if you were to get every event point to get up to 12, just so you can get one of the event guns, and then spend another couple of hours grinding up to get to the second one. If they want to add guns in the game, they could just add them in an update. They don't need to force us to play through the game to get them in the first place. In fact, if they would have just released them, given to us straight out the gate, or maybe even with a slightly easier challenge, something like kill certain bosses or mobs or or players with a certain weapon, that would incline me to play more if I got the weapons and got to hang out and play with them a little bit longer. But by the time I get to level 15 to finally get the second weapon, I am exhausted from grinding the shit out of this battle pass. I don't want to do it. So that's my gripe with the battle pass. I don't want to get too in detail with it because if you play the game, you know how it is. The second thing I want to talk about is how different the gameplay is between grinding and playing. You cannot grind the battle pass or make any significant jumps in it playing the game the way it's supposed to be played. If you're not playing the event, if it's just playing the game, you go for the boss. The boss is the only thing you care for in the game when you're not focusing on the event. You might get a few clues, you might get a few kills along the way, but the boss is the whole point. During an event, if you're trying to grind through the battle pass, you cannot play that way and make any significant jump in the battle pass. It's not going to happen, because what happens is that you'll load into a match, and whether you find the boss right away or not, if you decide to kill the boss, you lose out on all the event clues. You can't get them. So if you're grinding the battle pass, you avoid the boss. You don't go for the boss at all. You go for all the event clues you can get and all the altars for all the compounds that you can. You avoid any conflict if you can, and you run vulture, and every time a shootout ends, you just go to where it is and try to loot the players. And that's not even going to happen all the time because they'll burn the players out, so you can't loot them and get the event points. And then you have to go for the boss and extract with it. But the boss is only worth 30 tokens or 30 event points. So you either play the game the way it's made to be played and not make any significant strides in the battle pass, or you don't play the game the way it's intended and you wander around a map for 45 minutes collecting event points. Now this would be a lot better if they didn't take out the ability for you to buy boosters. They used to have boosters that you could buy for a few days, and it would increase the amount of willingness to play if you always had a booster on, if you could always afford the booster. But they took those out. They haven't been in the game for a little bit now. I think the last thing I really want to talk about is the weather, because some people might say, well, the events with the weather that they added in were the best events, and I would say they were until the weather got so obnoxious that they basically just got rid of it. The rain was cool, it was atmospheric, it looked cool, it made the maps look cool, but everyone got so annoyed and angry with the rain, they basically turned it off. It's still there, but it's almost impossible to play on because I have played 20 games, not during this event, but the last event, it didn't get it a single time. And the reason they turned it off is because you go in with a sniper, the moment the rain comes up, you just leave. Because you're not going to drop the sniper for a Romero you found. You're not going to drop the weapon you just spent a lot of money on, and so you're just going to leave. You're going to die to a shotgun or to a guy with not a sniper scope. I tried boiling the argument down as much as I could. I still rambled a bit, I feel like, and stuttered a bit because it gets me angry when a game I like has this stuff in it. I feel like the only way they can fix this is by not doing this in the first place. If you don't have the manpower to make a full-on event with a new system or some type of actual in-game event, then don't do it in the first place. Add these skins in a challenge list or something, and then put the guns out for free or immediately. You don't have to give me them in the battle pass to make me want to play the game. You're not, in fact, that's turning me off from the game. I know many people are feeling the same way, and the only reason I'm willing to give them any sort of leeway on this is because the engine update is coming soon, and it could be that the current engine of CryEngine 3, I think we're on, whatever version of CryEngine 1 can't support a more complex event or complex systems. That's the only reason I can even begin to understand why the events are set up in this way. You know, I'm not a huge fan of just complaining about something without offering any way to fix it, and I think the only way to fix it is just not to do it. If they don't have the power to do it, then you just don't do it. Anyway, if you guys like the events, let me know. How do you feel about the battle pass? How do you feel about the events themselves? I've heard that some people really like them. I don't see the point in them. They're just a huge waste of time on Crytek and on us, and I feel like it's hurting their player base, especially now. So, see ya.